But if we go a little deeper, when we say anthropomorphic, Eibishter's hand, the Eibishter's mouth, speech, all anthropomorphic. Right? But why does he choose those? He can choose, there's infinite choices. Say he wants, he needs. Are those specific, intended to be meaningful? He could just say, because I said so.
Right.
He doesn't have to excuse himself and say, I want or I need. So even if it is anthropomorphic, why this?
I'm okay with that.
So the reason he says, I want, or I need, or it gives me pleasure, or it gets me angry, is because it's true. It's just that we don't understand his kind of anger. But it's anger. So it's not just using a word, random. Yes, he does get bad feeling or good feeling. Like ours? No, much more real than ours, not less real.
Why do we have to take that leap? In other words, why not actually just say that the Rebbeinu Shalom created a world, Histaka B'Reisa B'Yalma. He wants us to connect to him through the ultimate relationship. So he gave us metaphors. He created a world that reflected the metaphors for the relationship with him, of a master and a slave, and of a parent and a child, and of a husband and a wife, which is the Kol Hashirim Kodesh, Hashirim Kodesh Kodesh, the holiest metaphors as husband and wife. And the building blocks and ingredients of a relationship are anger and love, disappointment, all of these words. He's not choosing random anthropomorphic words. He's choosing the ones that are the cornerstone and foundations of relationships, because ultimately he wants us to be in a relationship with him. Now, who he really is on the other side of that relationship, we don't know, at least while we're here. When we return to our source, to him, we can. But for now, we don't know what it really means, the other party in the relationship. But he wants us to utilize the tools, the vocabulary of relationship as we relate to him. So not because he gets angry. To suggest he gets angry, even if it's a different type of angry, is to use a word that's utterly irrelevant to who he is, because we're using a word from our experience. He introduced that word because he knows our experience. But to suggest that he feels it, experiences it, is to suggest that we know him in a way that we can't.
We run into a trap there because he wants to have a relationship, so he's using the language of a relationship. Does he want a relationship or doesn't he?
Right. He wants us to experience him as wanting a relationship.
Which he doesn't.
What that really means, I can't pretend to describe. If I never tasted coffee, I couldn't describe it to you. It looks brown, it looks similar to this other thing I once had. I've been told it tastes like this other thing I had. I could use all kinds of words to talk around it, but I can't speak with confidence that I could describe it because I've never experienced it. And I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a kel mastater. He is intentionally hidden, and part of his hiddenness is for us not to cross that boundary to speak with confidence about what he is in his essence. It's to use the vocabulary he gave us to describe him and relate to him, which includes outstretched arm, anger, love, want, need. And I'm comfortable using his vocabulary because he gave it. And this is a big leap for me. I wasn't as comfortable using the vocabulary until I put in the time to look for myself, and now it just jumps out at you from everywhere, that the vocabulary includes want and need. And I'm perfectly comfortable using the vocabulary because he's the one who's providing it, introducing it, and wants us to utilize it. But that last piece that goes from he provides it, wants me to relate in that way, but I can't cross that boundary that now I could talk about what he essentially is, what he is more even than I am, what's the mashal and the nimshal, because he didn't, at least what I've seen, explicitly go that far in telling me that in a nigla way that's Dvar Hashem. So I only have the vocabulary and tools that I have, and the rest, he's a kel mistater. He's mysterious, and he's hidden intentionally by design and definitionally, because otherwise I'd be him if I could understand him.
Well, let's not close the door completely,
Okay.
because again, there is a mitzvah to know him. So he is a kel mistater who wants to be revealed. He doesn't mean to stay mistater. Otherwise, it's not a relationship at all. So if you say, the Ebershter's yad, what do I care? He doesn't have a yad. That's fine with me. He's just using the word. But when he says, I want a relationship, and I say, well, he's not part of that relationship. It's just something's fishy here. Is it a relationship? Then it's got to be two ways. Otherwise, it's not a relationship. It's a test of obedience? That's not a relationship.
When I never met the Rebbe. I was never Zocha, although I spend a lot of time with him here in my office. And I've been to the Oil now many times. Was there a relationship you had with the Rebbe? Was there a hiddenness to the Rebbe where you might ascribe part of the experiences you're having with him based on who you are, but there was a depth and a profundity and a reality to him? And I'm not equating the Rebbe, of course. It could be any tzaddik, any gadol, any person that we're looking up to, who reveals a piece of who they are and craves the relationship based on the piece of who they are that they've revealed, but has a whole essence to them. And that's the difference of our generation and others. What makes them a tzaddik is they're not oversharing and revealing everything. They know how to hold back. So Kadosh Baruch Hu chooses pieces to reveal, or in what way he wants us to relate, but the essence of who he is, the hiddenness of who he is, there's a veil and a boundary that I don't believe we're even capable of crossing, but that certainly he doesn't want us to cross.
I don't know why we would assume that. Why wouldn't he want us to?
Because we're incapable. He's infinite, we're finite.
Okay, so it's not that he doesn't want, we just can't.
Okay, that's a technicality, because I don't. If we could, would he want? I don't know, because we can't.
Okay, but the part that he does reveal, we should know. So he revealed that he wants a relationship. So that we should know. That's not the mistater part. That's nigla.
Right.
Right. That's not even.
Right.
Not even Kabbalah.
He presents himself to us as wanting a relationship.
Is that honest or not honest?
It's honest in a way that I can't have an expectation or a sense of entitlement to fully understand now.
But that is nigla, that we should know.
All I need to know is that I relate to it as his needing and wanting.
Right. Which is honest?
Which is honest.
Okay.
What it means vis-a-vis my experience of need and want, I can't understand, because he's categorically different.
Okay, so the fallout of that is that intelligent students are going to ask the ultimate question. I understand the benefit to me, whatever it is. Does it matter to him? You say, well, we don't know. There's no way we can know. So it doesn't matter to him. We are the Am Hanivchar, but we don't necessarily have to be. He could have chosen somebody else. Maybe someday he will.
But we don't give that answer all the time in Yiddishkeit, that there's a point at which we have to surrender. Submission, religion at its essence is not just the gishmak to be a Yid. At its essence, religion is that even when we run into that wall and we can't understand, Moshe Rabbeinu had it. He wanted Harini As Kodecha. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, you can see my back, you can't see my front. Avram Avinu challenged him at stone. You're not going to understand my ways. We have many precedents of people who hit that wall, and Kadosh Baruch Hu said, the relationship with me is going to be like any other, unlike any other you have, which is you're going to run into a wall, at which point part of believing in God is also accepting that you can't and won't understand everything. So where you put the line and vis-a-vis which thing, okay, but in the end of the day, that's the core and the essence of that's religion. And to promise otherwise, that we can understand, that we are entitled and we're capable of comprehending, is a promise we can't deliver on.
Maybe. So far, right? But again, it's not understanding God's methods, not understanding his judgment, why the righteous suffer and why. Okay. But here we're talking about Torah and mitzvahs. Does he need the mitzvah
But why did you so quickly say okay? Meaning for some people that's the essence of their lives. They've suffered terribly, they've endured tragedy, they've lost
And
a
we
loved
don't
one.
understand.
But why are you comfortable there saying we don't understand?
Because we don't.
Okay, so whatever gives you the comfort to say that about that, I am comfortable saying it about need and want. We get this far, he presents himself to us as needing and wanting. What that really means, now I'm where you are about Sadik Varalo,
Okay.
which is we can't.
So what I'm saying is, if you don't understand his need, you don't understand Torah. And we're supposed to understand Torah. So we can't dismiss it as hidden things. Torah hi v'lumad anitzada. So what is the mitzvah? Is it a one-way relationship, a two-way relationship? So we can't be without, because then we develop an opinion and an attitude. Torah is temporary, it doesn't have to have it, someday it'll become bottle, it'll become useless, it'll become... Is that what Torah is? So you see, we can't claim ignorance when it comes to limud HaTorah. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to get to know him through Torah. Through Hashgacha Pratis, why God makes things happen. Someday. But you can't say, I'm a Talmud Chacham, but I don't know what the Torah is all about.
But you're limiting the Torah to that one question of the definition of need.
The ultimate, no. What is the ultimate reality of Torah?
I don't know.
What is it?